Roadrunner Rundown on Bakersfield.com and the CSUB Roadrunners Digital Network. Live from the Dignity Health Studios in downtown Bakersfield, California.
Welcome to a special winter sports preview edition of Roadrunner Rundown. I'm Corey Costello. Thanks so much for joining us. On today's program, we're going to preview the upcoming and current 2014-15 winter sports underway. We'll hear from CSUB wrestling, CSUB men's basketball, women's basketball, and men's and women's swimming and diving. Roadrunner wrestling is underway, a couple meets into their season and dual matches as well. We got a chance to catch up with head coach Mike Mendoza as we bring you our first winter sports preview 2014-15 CSUB Wrestling. Mike Mendoza knows that this season will be different for CSUB Wrestling. After taking their lumps as a youth-driven program over the last few years, experience and success should collide in 2014-15.
You know, I think for the past couple years, we've been gearing towards, the lineup that we're going to have right now. And we got a lot of good juniors that are going to be in the lineup this year. And I think last year we were hoping for it to be our breakout year, but I think just with a few unfortunate circumstances, guy get hurt and changing weight classes, it wasn't quite the year that we were hoping to have. But this year, with a healthy year, we're going to be a really strong team and have a breakout year. I mean, obviously last year we had an All-American, which is great, but we needed to have more guys at the NCAA tournament and more guys contending to be All-Americans, which this year I think we'll be in the position to do.
Wrestlers like Timmy Box, Adam Fierro, Bryce Hammond, and Ian Nichols should be a couple of the faces to watch.
Yeah, obviously Timmy coming back, it's going to be a huge year, I think, for him. Ian dropping back down to his weight class, 133, is going to be great for him. And then, also you have Adam Fierro, who redshirted last year and had a great redshirt year, and he'll be another key guy to watch.
Coach Mendoza likes the lineup he'll be putting out this season for the Roadrunners.
133 with Ian Nickel, 141 with Timmy Box. Coleman Hammond's a freshman, but he's very talented. And, it's hard to tell exactly how a freshman's going to do out the gate, but I know that he's going to be good. I don't know how quickly he can adjust to this level, but he certainly is capable, has all the tools. So, I'd put him as somebody to watch and develop this year and be real good. And then at 157, we have two guys that, are really, really talented. Spencer Hill's a senior, and then David Meza, who was our 165-pound last year, dropped down to 157. And they're going to be battling it out and make that weight class a strong weight class for us. And then, of course, Adam Fierro coming back at 165 and returning All-American Bryce Hammond at 74s. Then at 184, we have a couple guys there as well. We have a senior who's had some good performances the past couple years. And, of course, as a senior, you come in just that maturity and it being the last year. Guys typically will even ratchet it up even more. But challenging him is going to be a very talented freshman, Emmanuel Barber. And so that weight class will be closely contested, and we'll have somebody good there as well. And then at 197, we have a freshman, Matt Williams, who had a great redshirt year last year, and did well in some tournaments and did well in the off season at FILA Junior Nationals placing. So he'll be exciting to watch. I mean, him and Ruben Franklin, who wrestled at 197 last year, is going to redshirt. So, and then obviously on the ends we have 125 and heavyweight, where we're hoping to be stronger at those two weight classes this year. We had a true freshman at 125, Sergio Mendez, last year. We have a senior who's getting his weight down to 125, but Sergio, as a true freshman, you're asking a lot. And so he's a true sophomore this year. He's improved. He's a little undersized for the weight class, but he's got good feel for wrestling. He knows position. He's a guy that's going to continue to improve, but he's still young. And then at heavyweight, we just don't have a lot of experience there. We've had a different heavyweight there, and so this year, it's going to be somebody new at that weight class. Even though they've been with the program, it's different when you start, when you're competing and you're the guy. So really kind of unproven weight class there with the two guys that are competing for that spot.
With guys that have been in the wrestling room a long time comes expected leadership for this year.
I think that's the one thing that we are going to have this year is some leadership and some older guys. Obviously, we've got one senior or two seniors that are in the lineup. And last year they were juniors, so there really hasn't been some senior leadership at some of the maybe better guys. And I think obviously our All-American was a sophomore last year, so a little bit young, but coming back as a junior with Ian Nickel and with Adam Fierro, and like I said, Spencer Hills being a senior and David Mesa a junior, and you're gonna have some older guys, which is a big deal. I mean, you can have leadership within the coaching staff, but the guys in the team, they're a different set of leaders, among their peers, and that's a huge factor, and we'll have that this year. We have guys that, like I said, that are now older that, keep a rein on the guys on the team and push them and kind of pull them up to a level that we need to be at it as a team. And yeah, there's definitely that presence is there this year. It's a big help, because it not only does it matter when it comes from the coach staff, but it comes from within the team. So.
Well, there is an individual aspect to wrestling that doesn't stop Coach Mendoza from his team goals as well.
I think I like to. We'll have more guys at the NCAA tournament this year. I don't know if there's anything in particular that I look at like, we need to change this so that we have a different season. I think it's just been a growing process. So, I want to be healthy. I think that'll be a big key to our success. But no matter what, who's out there, we feel a lot more confident this year that no matter who's wrestling for us, we're going to be in good shape because we've got a good group of hardworking guys, and we're an improved team from last year. So, I think it's more of just continuing to grow and get better, which we will, and we'll have a more successful season.
One of the guys to make it to the NCAA tournament last year was Bryce Hammond, a two-time champion at 174 pounds in the Pac-12. His goals for 14-15 are clear as well.
Well, I think, obviously once you get on the podium, you want to be higher on the podium. I know he wants to be a national champ. That's the expectation that we have for him. And he has for himself. I mean, that's the most important thing. Like, that's what he's shooting for. He wants to be the national champ at 174 pounds. And so, that's simply put. Your All-American next step is to be a national champ. That's kind of the direction we're thinking. Yeah, last year he was probably in one of the toughest weight classes in the country, without a doubt. And this year it's not going to be a lot easier. They graduated, a couple guys. So there's 5 guys that are ahead of them that are real tough opponents. So I know in his mind when he's in the room practicing, grinding it out every day, he's thinking about those 5 guys as well as the other guys that are behind him. You can't forget about the guys that are trying to climb up to where he's at and beat him. So no, it's definitely a focus on the 5 guys that are right now ranked ahead of him.
Another wrestler expected to make an impact if he can stay off injury reserve is redshirt junior Ian Nickel.
Yeah, I think he unfortunately just his freshman year had incident where he had a season-ending injury, and then last year got hurt at the conference, and it's been a little bit unfortunate. That's wrestling. I think for him, he's got a real strong mind. He's not really fazed by it. He's focused on what he needs to do this year, and I think for him, it's just a matter of getting out and competing. There's nothing really special, for him. He has goals, and it doesn't matter to him that he's, ranked 26th in the country right now. Like, in his mind, he wants to be an All-American this year, and there's guys that he needs to beat to do it, and that's what he's training for. And so for him, he's ready to compete. He is eager to get out and compete and kind of prove himself
Wrestling as an affiliate member of the Pac-12 is nice, but Coach Mendoza knows winning the conference should be the ultimate goal.
Yeah, I think it's always a goal to win your conference. I mean, besides doing well nationally, you always, immediately in front of you have the conference opponents that you have you're going to compete against all year, and that's the goal, to win the conference. Oregon State is the team to beat this year. Not to say that Boise State's not up there or any of the other Pac-12 schools, but we're going to put out and focus on we're going to put out the best guys that we have at each weight class. And I don't think we set really a goal of, we're going to win the conference, but that's something that we want to do. That's our expectation, but it's not something we talk about in terms of like, this is the goal, we got to win the conference. It's more about, hey, we've got to have 10 guys out there that are wrestling their best and climbing the ladder. I mean, I think certainly winning the conference this year is within reach. And I think if we do our job with focusing on the 10 guys that are wrestling in the conference championship, that we'll be able to accomplish what we're shooting for.
The Runners host a special home match this weekend at Bakersfield High School. And there's a look at CSUB wrestling. And when we come back on the program, we will check out CSUB women's basketball. The Roadrunners expected to do a lot in the Western Athletic Conference this season. We'll hear from head coach Greg McCall and bring you some images from practice when we come back on this winter sports preview edition of Roadrunner Rundown.
Welcome everyone. Nissan of Bakersfield has everything for the perfect car buying experience. Like our beautiful showroom, full of the most popular Nissan models for you to explore. And our fully stocked parts and service department, from everything from genuine Nissan accessories to factory trained service technicians to keep your car running its best. Plus, our massive inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles means you're guaranteed to find the right one for you. Nissan of Bakersfield is where you should buy your next car.
This is dignity, the smile given to a sick child, the steps taken to find a cure, future leaders learning to make a difference, humanitarians who give from the heart, and a love that comes from above. At Mercy and Memorial Hospitals, dignity is more than just a word. It's who we are.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The Daily Deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Catch and shoot for three.
Roadrunner basketball season tickets are on sale now. Men's home games include Delaware, UC Riverside, New Mexico State, and Valley rival Fresno State on December 6th. Get your season tickets and be guaranteed your seat when the Bulldogs come to the Accardo Center. Season tickets start at just $99 for general admission. Purchase your season tickets at GoRunners.com or by calling 654-BLUE. CSUB Roadrunner basketball back on the blue court of the Accardo Center this season. We're all runners. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes. We're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to GoRunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
Welcome back to Roadrunner Rundown and our special Winter Sports Preview Edition as we continue on the show. CSUB women's basketball, preseason favorites in the Western Athletic Conference. We'll chat with head coach Greg McCall as we preview the 14-15 Roadrunners. Head women's basketball coach Greg McCall knows the season has arrived, just on how things change personally when the calendar shifts to November.
Yeah, I know I probably have a different look, a different walk, the way I approach practice and definitely games. So it's totally different. You can kind of feel it in the air and feel it all over your body. I wake up at 2, 3 in the morning thinking about our program, thinking about what we have to do next, what we're going to do today in practice, start watching video of teams that we're going to be playing. I had already started like a month before, watching USC and their scrimmage, because I knew we were going to scrimmage them. So I had been watching them like almost a month before. Northridge the same, and just kind of always preparing, trying to get ahead of the game.
One of the stars to watch this season is redshirt senior Tana Outland, who was a preseason player of the year in the WAC after a stellar junior year with the Roadrunners.
It's a really good opportunity for her to do a lot. Like I said, when we had those games last year and they always ask, like, what do you have? What is it that you're doing differently, with your teams this year? And I just said, we have Ty. So it's as simple as that. I mean, she does it all. She takes the best offensive player on the other team and she defends them. Then we ask her to come down and get us points. We ask her to run the point guard spot. So she has to do everything. And this year she's improved a lot more on just the leadership role and just being able to read a lot more better on the defensive end. And you'll see her assist rate go up a lot more this year, I think. There might be a couple games where she might end up with some double-doubles.
Tana Outland personally believes this team has more pieces to make a deeper run into the postseason.
I'm really excited just to continue on with where we started last year and just capitalize on the mistakes and make it further this year than last year. This year we're way more versatile than last year. We have bigger guards, and our rebounding should be way better, and everybody should be able to contribute better to rebounding because that's where we lacked last year. But this year we have some really good key components, more scoring from different positions, and it's just a lot of pieces that we added.
Along with the pieces comes more size, which Outland welcomes with open arms.
Yes, because the prior years I was one of the tallest on the team. Now we have way more in the key guard spots because other teams we played, we were always way smaller, so rebounder we would get killed.
Outland will be expected to lead the Roadrunners, but longtime teammates like Deji Vines know she's embraced that role along her journey here at CSUB.
Well, her work ethic is there. She works really hard to get to where she's going. I think she's going to move forward after this season. And, she doesn't only look out for herself, but she looks out for the whole team as far as on the court and off the court if anyone needs anything. And then as far as, on the court, scoring and everything, she's just not trying to score for herself.
Yeah.
She actually breaks down people to get other people open to score. And I think that's big because at the beginning, when we first came here, it was just her scoring, you know, she was a freshman still learning, but she's picked up a lot of different worth ethics and all that different stuff for our team.
Outland and teammates like Deji Vines are here for a 5th season after being injured 3 years ago. While the Runners struggled that year because of injuries, Greg McCall said it's now benefiting the program with experience.
Yes, it was. It was a bittersweet blessing, like you said, bitter for a first-year coach. By having so many players hurt, that's not the way you want to start off, but everything worked out. It definitely was a blessing, and for these young ladies as well as myself to have them here for another year, not only just basketball-wise, but off the floor as well, too, because they show so much leadership, and they just kind of set the tone for the rest of the girls, so it's definitely a blessing.
There was just a lot of frustration, trying to get players back, trying to get everybody healthy, trying to win games. And now it's last year, it all started his 3rd year of head coach. Things just started coming together. Now things are just looking good for us. It's just grown from last year. It's just going to keep growing from here on out.
This season will be different for CSUB, who will start out the year ranked number 1 in the Western Athletic Conference, something McCall says hasn't affected his team in preparing for the season.
It's been business. I've told them they haven't done anything yet. That's just on paper. Mm-hmm. We have to take what's on paper, apply it to the floor. And then once we apply it to the floor, we'll see the results. And at the end of the day, we want to be champions, and then we'll put it back on paper as we're champions. So
Yeah.
I like that the way that's set up. Yes, we've worked hard to get ourselves in that position to be able to put that on paper to say yes, and the coaches and the other from our conference have seen that, hey, yeah, this is a team to beat. So I appreciate that part of it, because we've had to work hard to get ourselves there. I'd rather be in that position versus where we were last year, at the 4th or 5th spot, and we had to prove ourselves. Now, yes, we got to prove ourselves that we are the champions, so we, have to take that off paper.
I wouldn't call it extra pressure. I would just say that we know that we should have been the first seed, so now that they gave us the first seed, it's more of a make sure we defend it and make sure we go out there and play each game how we're capable of playing, and the rest will take care of itself.
Before the Roadrunners get to conference play, they'll take on a tough preseason schedule against teams like Arizona State, UNLV, and Nebraska.
That's where we want to be. We want to be battle-tested before you go into conference. If you can do well in your preseason and go in with some confidence and things that you know that you can take into the conference with you, that'll be really good for us to be able to get it done now.
Like every other coach, McCall learned something during the first year in the Western Athletic Conference.
That you have to prepare, and every play is really, really important. You can't take any plays off. You can't have any breakdowns on different sets or different plays defensively, because teams take advantage of it, because they had all year to prepare, for the conference. The other thing that was a big won't be a big shock to us, we'll have that year of experience under our belt. So when we go in to the conference tournament this year, we'll understand what it is going to take to win it. If you look at the two teams that were in the championship last year, they had been there before.
Right.
And so they had that experience. So I'm expecting us to go in and do very well this year, because we'll have another year. We'll have that first year out of the way and under our belt.
Players like Alyssa Shannon and Deji Vines also learn lessons from year number 1 in the WAC.
I would say just knowing when to peak. Conference is very long, and so it's really important as a team to know when to peak, as far as not to peak too soon in the conference, and then conference tournament comes and the teams that were expected to win don't win. So I would say just staying focused and knowing that conference is a very long season, and just taking care of business one game at a time so we can get to the NCAA.
I agree with what she said, and also knowing mistakes, it's better to catch the early mistakes now than to catch them later in the season, and it messes everything up.
From a guard perspective, Alyssa Shannon says the team makeup will be solid this season.
I think the team makeup has been pretty good so far. I think Coach did a good job in recruiting girls that could kind of fit in with the core, like you mentioned. So I feel like they're a good add to what we already have.
And as the season enters conference play, McCall believes his team's experience and health could be major factors in success this year.
We're going to be very excited, because we know we had a year under our belt to prepare even more now. We know what to expect. As long as we can stay healthy, and that's the key to having a great season, and that's what happened to us this past season. Everyone was healthy. We just a little nicked up, banged up here and there, but that comes with the grind of the season. So we're very excited about where we're going to be, having another year under our belt.
The Roadrunners return to the Icardo Center on Wednesday, November 26th, hosting Fresno Pacific at 7 p.m. And there you have it, CSUB women's basketball. The Roadrunners looking strong for 2014 and 15. When we come back, we'll chat with head coach Rod Barnes and CSUB men's basketball as we preview the 14-15 Roadrunners as we continue on the winter sports preview edition of Roadrunner Rundown.
Honey, have you called Gun Knocks about fixing that toilet upstairs?
I saw a plumbing episode on the Fix It channel. Man, I can fix it.
You could try it yourself, or you could just call Gunlax and save your marriage.
Hey, honey, I think I did it.
Gunlax, 327-3052.
That wasn't so bad.
Save 50 to 90% with the Bakersfield Californians Daily Deal featured on Bakersfield.com. A daily deal is offered each weekday on services from local restaurants, dry cleaners, health and beauty services, retail shops, and local activities for the entire family. The daily deal is 100% local. Find these amazing deals only at dailydeal.bakersfield.com.
Bakersfield Life magazine is a monthly lifestyle publication that features local people, places, and businesses. It is available to be read on bakersfieldlife.com and publishes the last Saturday of the month with many convenient pickup locations. Find us online on Facebook or Twitter, as well as bakersfieldlife.com.
We pursue excellence in the classroom and strive to achieve our potential. We compete on the field with integrity, on the court with respect,
and in the pool with distinction.
We are strong leaders in our community and gain values from our biggest fans.
We continue the legacy of commitment to our universities, to our coaches, to our teammates, and most importantly to you.
We learn, we compete, we inspire.
We are the Western Athletic Conference.
The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes. We're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to gorunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
Well, the CSUB Roadrunners had some mixed results in the 2013-14 season, their first in the Western Athletic Conference. We continue here on the Winter Sports Preview Edition of Roadrunner Rundown as we look at the 14-15 Roadrunners. 1 year of experience in the WAC under their belts, a lot of new faces, but head coach Rod Barnes has a plan for Bakersfield in this season as we preview the 14-15 Roadrunners. Head men's basketball coach Rod Barnes is coaching a new crop of Roadrunners this season, a group that has potential once they get through the early season ups and downs.
So many new faces. Seems like we hadn't been able to get everything in, but been really impressed with this group, and we're excited about this weekend as far as the exhibition and starting next week. You can kind of feel that basketball fever in the atmosphere now.
Coach Barnes enters his fourth season in Bakersfield and the second for the Roadrunners in the Western Athletic Conference. Both the program and the conference have changed in that time frame.
A good 3 years. I've been really pleased with, just the support that we've gotten and, how things are progressing along. And we feel like we're in a good place and excited about this particular team and think we've got a mix of new faces and old guys that think we can really go out. And the last couple of years, we're looking for a conference. Now we're definitely in one and excited about it.
With a bunch of new names on the roster comes a new focus on the basics of Roadrunners basketball, something Coach Barnes has welcomed.
Well, we've gone back to the basics. We've got a bunch of new faces. We got a bunch of guys that were here that didn't play, a couple of guys that set out. So it's been a lot of teaching, a lot of, fundamental work, a lot of details on offense and defense. And I think it's really helped our team, really, because as coaches, we've really focused on the little things, and we've seen progress each week. And this team here, I think, is maybe, one of the hungriest teams during this time for us preparing that we've seen. They take instructions well, and they work hard every day. And so I'm looking forward to coaching this bunch of guys.
Now in his second season in the WAC, Coach Barnes learned a few things about how to compete in the unique Western Athletic Conference last season.
Well, first of all, the league was better than what I anticipated from top to bottom. I think the second thing is it was so physical. So we've changed our roster. There's always, I expected to be really good coaches. So I think we learned a lot about the league, and I think we've made the adjustments we need to make that we can compete. I mean, I thought last year there was a lot of games that we lost just because of sheer physicality of the way the other teams was, and hopefully that we can turn that around this season. I thought our team played hard and played really good basketball. We just couldn't get over the hump on making those plays that you need, winning plays, as we like to call them. And I think we've recruited some guys, and I think our guys from last year have learned really how good this league is and, the way that we need to prepare for it. So I'm excited about this, taking this team into this season.
With that came a new approach to recruiting as well.
Well, it is. It's definitely a different model. Some of it similar to when I was at Ole Miss. But getting out here early on, the skill of the West Coast players were such a high level, and that's the way we recruited. And now being in the WAC, we realized that you've got to be big and strong. It's a long season. It's a lot of travel. So physically, you've got to have strong bodies, and that's what we've gone out and recruited. Toughness was probably the first thing, and guys that had been in winning programs, because you don't want to go too long. We had a winning season, then we had season that we took a lot of guys out trying to prepare for the WAC, and we ended up falling short. And last year, obviously, we played well, competed well, but the wins weren't there. So we wanted to get some guys that were kind of fresh and, coming off winning seasons and going to their, national tournaments or going to the state tournament, whatever they were playing in. And we really want to build around toughness and athleticism. We got away from really worrying about size as much as we were. The second thing is it was position driven. We've got guys this year that if they're to shoot, they're going to shoot it. If they're rebounders, they're going to rebound. If they're passers, they're going to pass. So that's the thing that I think it was built around, and it is shown. Our chemistry for our team is probably far along, even though the guys are new than it's been in the past, because guys kind of know their roles.
Despite the new faces, there are some key returners that are expected to be very impactful this season for CSUB.
Well, I think the first thing, I think we've got 3 guys that I think would be a solid foundation to start with. I think Ty Corbin, because I think Isaiah Grayson was probably the best point guard in the league last year, and he played against him every day. So I think he's gotten better. I think Javante Maynard has been a guy that's been around a longer time. And then Ali is definitely, a big guy in the middle. I think he has a chance to be one of the best big guys in our league. So we feel like we've got a good foundation there. And all 3 of those guys, we're expected early on, to play well for us. And we feel like we've got some recruiting. We've got some guys that set out. So we feel like we've got a good start with the base, and we think our newcomers are talented, as you mentioned, very physical and big body guys that we think that as they kind of get adjusted to what we're doing, we'll have good depth on our team.
And on the newcomers front, the Runners have plenty to choose from.
Well, I think Brent Rapp, first of all, a backup point guard from Colorado, who I think Ty Corbin is probably going to be our starter there as a freshman that was with us last year but has done really well in our workouts and our scrimmages. Kevin Mays is a young kid that, we've had a few scrimmages. In one, he had 16 rebounds. He's an undersized guy, but he's really aggressive and plays hard. And the great thing about him is he loves to play, he loves to win, he loves to compete. He brings a lot of toughness to our team. Those 2 guys. And then I think Cortez Connors is a guy that, we probably could get an instant offense. I mean, he's a guy that once he gets it going, he can fill up the scoreboard real quickly. So those 3 guys, I think, right now are probably the 3 guys that are new faces that I think that people are really right away jump into. I think our other guys we got some chances to really, help us. But if you come to the court, you'll probably see those guys playing immediately and playing right away, whether they're starting or coming off the bench.
One of those newcomers is his youngest son, Bray Barnes, who is now the second Barnes to play for his father at CSUB.
Well, I tell you, I don't know if you ever get used to it or not, but it's been exciting. I mean, I made some mistakes, obviously. I know as a coach the first time around, because it's your first time coaching and obviously you're coaching your son. But I have a little bit more experience right now, and I think Bray understands it. He understands the pressures, and as you mentioned, we're going to redshirt him this year to give him a chance to kind of move into the program. He needs to get stronger, and hopefully he'll end up having a great career. But just as a father, not being a coach, as a father, it's great to have your son out there with you each and every day and watching him grow and go through adversities and the triumphs that he has. So it's a blessing for me. But I think he's probably saying right now, Dad is really working us hard. So, but it's been, I think our family has made that adjustment, and Brandon kind of took us through that test run, and now I think it'll be a little bit smoother for Bray.
Bray had options out of high school and away from Bakersfield, but he really wanted to stay home with the family.
Well, he did. I mean, I was talking to him about going to prep school, play for some of my former players who are junior college guys, or even try to play maybe Division II. And I thought he has, potential to play at the Division I level. And, just one day he called a meeting. He said, I want to talk to all of you guys, and I want to sit down and tell you what's on our mind. And we didn't know what was going on. I thought he had made a decision on which prep school he was going to go to. And he said, I've decided. It's kind of one of those decisions. So he said, I've decided that I'm going to go to Cal State, Bakersfield. And he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play for my dad. And we kind of all just looked because we wasn't expecting. And he asked us, are you guys not happy for me? So we all jumped up. But it was that's Bray for you. I mean, he's a guy that's really quiet. He'll surprise you. But I think everyone in our household was surprised at his boldness, but also at, he was really clear in what he wanted to do. And, he talked about redshirting and working out with our strength and conditioning coach and being there with us every day. So I couldn't say no. I just got excited, and it's been a really enjoyable time being with him so far, and hopefully it'll stay that way.
The Roadrunners were picked to finish 6th and 7th in the preseason WAC media and coaches polls after finishing 6th last season.
Well, it is. I mean, I thought last year, and I said this, after we got started, we want the expectations in our program because they're needed. You want to be people to be excited and want you to win and expect you to win, but it's probably a little bit too fast for our program at this particular point. We're at where we need to be, middle of the pack team that I think has a great upside to finish stronger, and we're about work, working our way up. We don't want someone to give us anything, and then next year we're first, and the next year we're last, and we want to build our way up, and we think we're in a good position this year, and think that as our program continues to grow, that we'll just work our way on up and one day get that ultimate goal, and that's being the best team in the WAC.
The Roadrunners continue their season this Thursday night at San Diego State before playing their home opener Sunday evening at 4 o'clock against Delaware at the Accardo Center. My thanks to Rod Barnes for joining us on the program and giving us access to the Roadrunners as they get ready for action and continue action here in the 14-15 season. When we continue here in the Winter Sports Preview edition of Roadrunner Rundown, we'll check out CSUB men's and women's swimming and chat with Director of Swimming Chris Hansen. Stick around. The Winter Sports Preview edition of Roadrunner Rundown continues.
This is dignity, the smile given to a sick child, the steps taken to find a cure, future leaders learning to make a difference, humanitarians who give from the heart, and a love that comes from above. At Mercy and Memorial Hospitals, dignity is more than just a word. It's who we are.
We've never done marketing. It seems to be a little intimidating. You don't know what's available. You think you're going to sell your first child or it's going to be really expensive to do. But Heather really described everything in a way that we knew exactly what we were doing. There was no questions about it. She was very clear.
I really enjoyed that Heather took her time to get to know us as a family, get to know our business. From anyone that I do meet, I like to get to know them.
We knew exactly what we were getting into, but really the results of it was far more than we ever expected. I think it brought us to the forefront of most people's mind. So they heard our name, and then all of the videos and pictures, the Bakersfield Life, put a face to the name, and they were able to connect that and know what our product was, but also know us as a family.
Because of the Bakersfield Californian and because of Heather, generated so much buzz about our restaurant that we couldn't have done it alone.
Catch and shoot for three.
Roadrunner basketball season tickets are on sale now. Men's home games include Delaware, UC Riverside, New Mexico State, and Valley rival Fresno State on December 6th. Get your season tickets and be guaranteed your seat when the Bulldogs come to the Accardo Center. Season tickets start at just $99 for general admission. Purchase your season tickets at GoRunners.com or by calling 654-BLUE. CSUB Roadrunner basketball back on the blue court of the Accardo Center this season. We're all runners. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund creates educational opportunities for over 300 student athletes at CSUB. By becoming a member and donating to the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund, you're not only helping the Roadrunners fund the scholarship needs of our teams, you're investing in the future. The Roadrunner Scholarship Fund isn't just developing student athletes. We're developing tomorrow's leaders from lessons learned during competition. For more information, log on to GoRunners.com/donate and become a member of the Roadrunner Scholarship Fund.
Well, it is winter time, but the pool is still active as the men's and women's swim team for CSUB is in action. We got a chance to catch up on the pool deck with Director of Swimming Chris Hansen as we preview the 14-15 men's and women's swimming and diving teams here at CSUB. Director of Swimming and Diving Chris Hansen has two teams to worry about each season, and each season, since that's been the case, one team has stood out above the other.
The men's team is just jam-packed with freshmen. I think we have 15 new people. They're the reason we won last week. The freshmen have really stepped up sooner than I would think most freshmen have in the past. I mean, these guys are really ready to go. The women's team, we're low on numbers this year. We only have one new person, but we head to Idaho tonight, and they were second at the WAC last night. We just scored the meet. We have us winning, so I don't know. The trio of Paula, Delise, and Michaela, they just keep winning, and the others follow. This should be a fun year.
On each of his squads, Hansen knows the leaders that he hopes to set the pace for the rest of the team.
Well, on the men's side, it doesn't seem to be the case anymore. We have Mitchell, who's certainly doing his thing, but Miha and Mario and Lovre are all new, and they're the names that you're hearing thrown out right now. On the women's side, Nicolette Goncalves, Lucy Sanderson, Delana Milibar, they all really need to step up. And they've been doing that. Their seasons, they're faster now than they were last year. So I think the women are going to surprise some people, even though we're short on numbers.
In changing the dynamic, Chris Hansen is looking for that perfect year when both teams perform at a consistent high level.
We really had to work hard to get the women that we have now. So when it came to recruiting this year, we were kind of busted. Our bank was dry, so we couldn't do too much. I don't know who it's going to be. I think dual meet-wise, it's going to be the men. Hands down, I don't think we lose another meet, except for UNLV will be a tough one. Because the numbers are low, the women are going to struggle in the dual meets. But when it comes to conference, I don't know who's going to score higher. I said the men in the beginning of the year, and now I don't know. It's going to be a battle.
Also in a sport like swimming is the balance between the individual performances and the overall team scores.
The conference, the WAC is tough in swimming. The issue is their teams are so spread out that we don't get to see very many of them during the year. So, we're swimming Arizona States and, schools that are have a little bit more reputation and money than we might have. We're gearing towards WAC. We're doing something a little risky with Mitchell. We're going to actually shave him in 2 weeks for the Arena Classic, and he's going to try to make his NCAA cut then so he doesn't have to shave for the WAC. I would feel a lot more comfortable if it was the 50 free and not the mile, but he thinks he can do it, so we're going to go for it.
Speaking of Huxold, one of his major obstacles and goals is already accomplished.
Olympic trials is done. He's a much better yard swimmer. He wants to be top 8 in the mile again. If he doesn't get the automatic cut in November, we're going to have to sit down and decide, do we shave again in February or risk being invited with his B cut? So it's a risky move for a senior, but he really wants to do it. He wants the NCAA to be his best meet. And if you shave 3 weeks before to make it, it's tough.
On the women's side, Michaela Page is expected to have another banner year despite some early setbacks.
She's been injured. She got injured last year. She got injured in January and selected up. She's hurt right now, but she's swimming through it. If we get her healthy, I think she'll be faster than last year. I think Paula Hernandez is going to not only shock herself, but shock the conference and maybe give her high school friend, Michaela, a little run for her money.
Hansen says Hernandez's formula has been very simple in reaching success.
She gives 100% in practice every single day. Michaela does too, so does Delise, they all do, but she's maturing as a swimmer. Tomorrow when we swim Idaho, Rachel Millett got second in the 200 freestyle at WAC. Michaela got first, Paula got third. So the three of them are going to be on the block Saturday. And I'm guessing none of them want to lose, so it's going to be a pretty exciting race.
On the recruiting front, Chris Hansen likes where he's built the runners program over the last few years.
Not worried about it. I can't talk about it because the signing date's next week, but we've gotten commitments, and somebody's coming in here faster than Mitchell Huxhold.
Okay. So,
not that I want to lose Mitchell, but I feel a hell of a lot better that we're replacing him. Our men's recruiting class that will be announced next week is huge.
This class also noticed CSUB from a national perspective when it came to swimming and making their selection.
You know what's interesting about this next class is 2 of them are from the East Coast. We've broken into Florida, we've broken into Virginia, and I think that has to do with CSUB swimming. It all has to do with being at NCAAs. We got a lot of publicity for Mitchell being the 9th fastest miler in the country. East Coast people wanted to know who CSUB was. So we're spreading. I didn't have to go international next year. We're going to have all Americans, but it's exciting to break into the East Coast.
For Hansen, he knows what a successful season would look like on the men's team side.
Well, we certainly want Mitchell to go to the NCAAs again. Miha Vulik really has the talent to do so. We just have to fine-tune a couple things. So, bringing somebody else with Mitchell, I think the men, Wyoming, UNLV, Air Force, and Grand Canyon, and us are going to battle for top 3. If we could be top 3 in the WAC, that'd be awesome.
And the same success for the women's squad.
Michaela was real close last year to the NCAA tournament, so she's talking about it already. We get her healthy. It would be great to bring 2 people, the men and women, and Carly Burks, the diver. She has a chance to get into the NCAA regions this year, absolutely.
One other important part of the swimming program is the diving team, which this season, thanks to more student athletes and coaches, will be a big help in the team scoring.
Best diving team since I've been here. No doubt about it. Coaching, talent. It's the biggest since we've been here. We have 7 divers. We're bringing recruits in next week. It's been a much needed fix, but we're gonna succeed. We're gonna have people in finals in top 8. Absolutely.
Both teams will be in action this weekend at the A3 Performance Invitational in Monterey Park. My thanks to Chris Hansen as the Roadrunners looking strong on both the men's and women's teams for swimming and diving in 2014 and 15. Hey folks, thanks so much for joining us here on the Winter Sports Preview edition of Roadrunner Rundown. Back live next week with another program here on Bakersfield.com and on demand as well at GoRunners.com. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll catch you next time. This has been Roadrunner Rundown.
Catch and shoot for three.
Roadrunner basketball season tickets are on sale now. Men's home games include Delaware, UC Riverside, New Mexico State, and Valley rival Fresno State on December 6th. Get your season tickets and be guaranteed your seat when the Bulldogs come to the Accardo Center. Season tickets start at just $99 for general admission. Purchase your season tickets at GoRunners.com or by calling 654-BLUE. CSUB Roadrunner basketball back on the blue court of the Accardo Center this season. We're all runners.